People in the South have a very different definition of barbecue. Carolina barbecue is always pork, lots of mustard, a little bit of vinegar. I miss eating Chinatown-style BBQ, the ones I used to get in Flushing, Queens. The hanging meats in the window, the roast ducks, the crispy whole pork, the soy sauce chicken. That's my definition of barbecue. I also want to showcase Carolina-style barbecue, so incorporating smoke into Chinatown-style barbecue. So that's how King BBQ was born. Good morning, my name is Shuai Wang. This is 6:30 in the morning. We're here at King BBQ in North Charleston. We're about to light the pits. Welcome to the pits of King BBQ. This is our pit master, Brandon Olson, right here. And we're about to grab some of our wood, which we stack over here. It's a mixture of white and red oak.
Red oak, we kind of use more for the consistency of the heat. And then the white oak, I've noticed a little bit greener, so it has a little bit more smoke to it.
One of the biggest things about smoking is that you forget the weather absolutely affects how much wood you use. When it's colder, it takes a lot more wood to get it nice and hot. So we're gonna split some of these just so smaller pieces will light a little easier. We ghetto rigged this a long time ago. This is actually a cutting board with another piece of stump underneath it.
It's a really good way to take some stress out sometimes.
I've been cooking since 2007. I've cooked mainly classic French or like New American or Chinese food. So learning how to use a smoke box is a really fun learning experience for everybody.
My entire career I've been doing barbecue, but for the past 8 years I've been learning Chinese cuisine from Shuai, and it's really cool to have like a full circle moment now. I'm just like a country kid, I'm not used to all this fancy stuff. So like Shuai would take me to New York. I'll never forget the first time we went.
I took him to Chelsea Market. He's never been there. We were leaving, and I turned around. Brandon's holding the door for every fucking body that's coming out. I was like, Brandon, this isn't the South. Let the door go.
It was like, oh, sorry.
You're not a doorman at Chelsea Market, Brandon.
I was for about 30 minutes.
Our learning curve for both of us is that how to incorporate Chinese barbecue with Southern smoke. Chinese barbecue has always been all direct heat, and that like renders and cooks the meat very differently versus a smoker where it's such indirect heat and such lower temperatures that curing and marinating meat turned everything into ham. So it took us a long time to figure out how to incorporate this smoke into the meat itself.
These are Lang smokers, the reverse flow. You add your fire right here, heat goes underneath this hot plate, basically hits right here and then comes back all the way through to this. So it actually ends up creating a convection.
So we're gonna light this bad boy.
Once this thing gets hot, it retains the heat pretty well. So I like to crack it just a little bit like this. So I get some of the smoke to come out of the bottom right here. And also heats up the entire thing.
And now we'll go season the ribs, and we'll put the ribs on as well.
Oh, the gas is off. Maybe we lost power?
I don't think so. So this is a fun part of restaurant owning. Every day something goes wrong. I was just told that our gas is off, so we'll see what happened there. There we go. My favorite things in the morning is looking at the millions and millions of texts that I got telling me what went wrong. Okay, crisis averted, guys. Crisis averted. Back to the important part. Delicious, delicious ribs. This is our AP rub, a mixture of sugar, salt, five spice, and just a little bit of magic seasoning, MSG. You know why people love Doritos? Because when they eat it and you get this little bite in the back of your teeth. Same with mushrooms, same with any cheese that's super aged. It does make a huge difference in flavor. I think the whole scare of it is, I don't know, to each his own, right? But we love it here. Somewhere down the line, we'll put a little bit of this super, super secret Chinese barbecue sauce. Traditionally, if you're doing Chinese barbecue ribs or cha shao, you're marinating all your pork in this. We wanted to get more flavor of the cha shao glaze onto the ribs, but we didn't want to cure it. So what we do now is just put a very light layer on there. It's mainly sugar. There's also hoisin in there.
Instead of just doing a straight dry rub or a wet rub, it's a little bit of both. So we'll season all of them, and then we'll get a little bit of this char siu sauce, kind of just start making it look like curry a little bit.
And I feel like most people do their dry rubs heavy on chili powder or brown sugar, which is like very common because you want that molassesy kind of flavor. Or it's just like, yeah, this is like very heavy on white sugar and the five spice, and the glaze really gives it that extra little layer of flavor. And we use spare ribs versus like baby back or whatever. just because that's very old school Chinese restaurant. Chinese people are all about texture when it comes to food. So that's why Chinese barbecue sometimes is a little chewier than like a Southern style barbecue. The cartilage part is one of our favorite parts. If it's cooked correctly, it's not chewy to the point where you can't eat it because that really nice crunch. So now this is all glizzied up. We'll hit that in the smoker. With a smoker like this, with different hot spots and different heat points, you're gonna have to rotate and move around individual ribs. It's like, oh, this rib is almost done, this rib is not. I'm gonna have to move this rib up top, that rib on the bottom. So it's a lot of adjusting like that. Same with our butts, same with our ducks, same with like just all of it. This is what we use to reheat some stuff. This is originally created for KFC because they used to keep their chicken super crispy. If you don't know about CVAPs, they're basically steam and heat. Our fresh ribs are not as good as our next day ribs. That reheating process, all that steam breaks it down a little bit more and like makes it a little softer. This is like a magic maker. And then like you notice that these are all covered in foil versus a lot of places will do paper. And then we started with paper and just dry them out. So more learning. 9 a.m. We're about 2 hours away from service. While the meats are going, smoking, the line's getting ready, we're gonna do some quick butchering to get this out of the way. Chef Olsen is butchering ribs for tomorrow. We're also butchering this duck to get ahead for tomorrow because both of these things are like 2-day processes. Duck is not one of the things you find on every single menu at a Chinese barbecue restaurant. Growing up in Queens, Flushing was the Chinatown that I went to. Every weekend we would go to Flushing to go grocery shopping and then we'll stop by one of the barbecue restaurants. We always get roast duck and we always get crispy roast pork. When we started doing this, we made the rubs and we tested it and tested it and tested it till it tasted exactly like how I remember. And that's kind of how we did most of the menu, honestly. I don't like to write recipes down until like more recently, you know, when I had to step away a little bit because of 2 restaurants. Brandon used to just follow me around with a notebook.
Like an intern, just like.
And then yeah, and I would just make things and he would write it down like how much I put of it. So I've been trying to get better about it. As far as breaking down the duck, we'll take the wings off, take any excess fat off. We'll separate the legs and the thigh from the breast. We like to keep it on the bone, and that's our duck breast. And our duck leg, and we'll go right down the middle. So we'll keep it on the bone. We used to take it off the bone, but then we realized that it would create a much moisture product. And that's what we kind of want on the end. We used to do it whole, and then we found out that, oh yeah, the breast will be cooked and the leg will be under, or the legs will be cooked and the duck breast will be overcooked. But you know, you only learn when you fail. That's the life lesson everyone needs to learn. Failing is great. I fail all the time. We're about to prep our special today. What we're doing today for our special is kind of our version or take on a BLT. I try to hit on my specials always something fatty, creamy, acidic, crunchy, and heat. We had these bellies cured for 10 days, and then we smoked it nice and low and slow till it's super tender. And then these gorgeous heirloom tomatoes we got from Grow for Carolina. Tomato skin is one of the biggest things that dulls your knife out. So if you don't have a super sharp knife, I honestly use like a serrated. It just makes everybody's life a lot easier. We don't always necessarily do specials that are Chinese. One of my favorite sandwiches is BLT, so we'll just make a really good BLT. And then sometimes we'll try to keep it very Asian. You know, we'll do like a soy sauce chicken. Again, oh my God, just take one. Like just look at this. Okay, so we'll go on to slicing our belly. We want to make BLT, but we didn't want to put just like standard bacon on there. But we still kind of want to get that same feel. So it's like slightly more cured. It's a little more saltier, but then you get like that nice still tender belly you would get from like a regular smoked pork belly. We have all this belly sliced, tomatoes sliced, and then we'll pick this back up around 10 a.m. for lineup so everyone can try the special. It's about 10:15. Typically that's what I do around every day around this time. I'll put up the special. I'll do social media stuff. It's like one of those costs that you either spend a ton of money on social media for someone else to do it for you, or you just do it yourself because you're a small business. That's us. So this is my wife, Shuai Wang, and also boss bitch lady. She's literally the only reason why this restaurant hasn't fallen apart yet. Hold this for me. So bun, tomb, delicious pieces of pork belly, lettuce, big old piece of mater, mayonnaise, top bun. Squish moment. That's good. Funsies. And it's now 11 o'clock, guys. We're gonna try to crank out some more this shrimp toast right before service. Just kind of get ahead for the day. You never know how much these bad boys we sell. This is probably one of our most popular items. I came up with this dish when I was like super stoned. I was like, oh man, you know, it'd be really freaking good right now. Shrimp toast. And I was like, oh, you know, it'd be really freaking good right now. Filet-O-Fish. So what we came up with was this combination of Filet-O-Fish and shrimp toast slider. It's a piece of deep fried shrimp toast in between two slider buns, tartar sauce, dill pickles, white onions. It's literally one of my favorite bites here. So we start with some local North Carolina shrimp. They're peeled and deveined. Give it a really rough chop. You will still want kind of a shrimpy bite, so just give it a quick couple of pulses. For the longest time, it didn't have all the tartar sauce or pickles or onions. We weren't sure what the sauce we want to do. We did a little bit of sweet and sour for 1 minute. I was like, well, that doesn't really work well. And we just realized, yeah, fried fish and tartar sauce is so good. Why fix something that's not broke? My mom always made filling by hand. She never used any kind of machine because you get a better feel of the filling and how much is emulsified with your hand. So now we'll put them on sandwich bread. So what we got here is just really, really crappy white bread. It has to be authentically shitty. When I was talking to our purveyors, I was like, I don't want anything fancy. I want the shittiest white bread you have. And we'll just take a tiniest bit on the other side too. What we call it shrimp glue will help it adhere together. So we make about almost 100 sandwiches every time we do this prep work. We'll go through that in about 2-3 days. And so 100 sandwiches yields about 400 sliders. My biggest thing with making sandwiches is always spreading every single ingredient on that sandwich edge to edge. This ensures that every single bite of the sandwich is exactly the same. You're like, what's next? Shrimp toast is ready. Not. Government cheese. When you eat Filet-O-Fish, there's always a piece of shitty yellow cheese that's on there that's barely melted. It's like very significant part of a Filet-O-Fish, right? So we're like, we have to put cheese on there. I call it government cheese because when I was growing up, we were super poor. We had like food stamps. We had to get cheese from the government. And that was one of the options that was available was shitty American cheese because it's one of those cheeses that kind of melts, but not really. So that's pretty much it. And then we'll cut this in 4 when we finish all of this. And then each little square will be 1 sandwich.
About 4.5, 5 hours into the smoking process. As I've been smoking the ribs, I've been rotating them, trying to get that even heat through everything. So I started doing 1 rotation. These were originally on the top. You can tell how the color is already starting to change a little bit, getting that amber color on them. I'm gonna glaze some ribs here in a second. So these are the ones from yesterday. So the big thing is checking our consistency on these guys. And if you can see right here, all that moisture and fat from the pork is contained in the foil, and that's a big thing. And then we have all that sauce that's in there that's also getting right back into the meat.
It bends, but it doesn't break. That's how you know it's a good rib.
It can fly.
That's moist. Since it was sitting in moisture, you try to glaze it out, all the glaze will just fall right off. But if you let it sit, let it dry for a quick second, you'll be able to get that glaze on there easier.
Whenever you take me out and fleshing, a lot of the char siu would have this almost like a candy coating on the outside. And so what we're trying to do is with these ribs is still have the integrity of awesome tender ribs, but also trying to get that crunch that you would normally get from the maltose coating the outside of the ribs.
Yeah.
So that's why we glaze it the way we do.
We'll get this in the hot box. You can see a lot of that moisture is dried out. So this is the same exact glaze that we use for when we wrap the ribs and when we season the ribs as well. So if you ever see like a traditional Chinese barbecue restaurant, you ever see them take the cha shao pork out of the roaster, you'll see that what they immediately do is dip it in a big vat of that and let it hang. Give it a quick torch just to kind of get that caramelization on there. We'll hand this over into the case and they're ready to go. We're about to start service. Unfortunately, you guys have to get out of here. You don't have to go home, but you can stay here. So, adios.